Hey everyone, welcome to Locked On Lakers for Wednesday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. Luka Doncic continues to torture the Los Angeles Clippers. The Lakers beat the LAC in advance in their cup group. Big night for the Lakers. We'll break it down next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making the Locked On Podcast Network the number one sports podcast network in all the known universe. Whether you're getting the show through Apple, iTunes, Spotify, whether you're one of the 37,000 subscribers to the show on YouTube, we certainly appreciate it. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, and good Lord, Andy, I don't know what exactly the Clippers did to make Luka Doncic angry, but whatever it is, he's still upset by it. He has scored more points on average against the Clippers than any team in the NBA, and he continued to beat up on them on Tuesday night. 43 points, including 5 of 5 from three-point range to start the game. Luka also had 9 assists and 13 rebounds. 9 rebounds, 13 assists, as the Lakers used a very strong fourth quarter to pull away from a just miserable-looking Clippers squad.
We will get into that. We will get into the other great performance for the Lakers tonight. It was a great night for the big three. It was, I thought, a good night for a lot of the supporting cast. But sticking on this theme of what Luka did tonight, just absolutely ripping the Clippers apart. You mentioned the 5 threes. I believe he had in the first quarter. He had 32 points at the half, 11 of 17 from the field, 6 of 10 from behind the arc, 4 of 5 at the line, plus 6 assists and 3 turnovers. Luka Doncic had 32 points at the half. The rest of the Lakers starters, 31. And it wasn't even one of those nights where it felt like one guy's doing all the scoring and the other guy's, all right, pick it up. LeBron, Reaves, and Rui each had 9 at the half. So it's not like they were sitting on some really paltry number.
Efficient work, too. I mean,
everybody was the only 2 guys from the Lakers tonight that were among the rotation players that did not shoot 50% or higher from the field. Maxi Kleber, 1 of 3 from the field. Gabe Vincent, 0 of 2. Everybody else that was, regular rotation member in this game, 50% or higher. Going back to Luka, just crazy numbers from the Lakers, their media relations department. Luka tonight moved past Magic into 10th place for the Lakers' all-time list for 40-point regular season games. This is Luka's 7th 40-piece in purple and gold, which is pretty great in and of itself. It's also just his 41st regular season game as a Laker. That's staggering. He also, again, per the Lakers media relations department, 39 40-point double-doubles. He passed Anthony Davis, irony alert, for 4th most among active players and tied Magic for 6th most 40-point double-doubles as a Laker. He also tied Kobe and Shaq for most 40-point double-doubles as a Laker below the age of 27 since the NBA-ABA merger. He has 5 of those. And again, he is doing a lot of this work in very little time as a Laker. It's honestly staggering.
Just as a housekeeping note, getting a lot of notes from folks in the chat. This goes back, Luka's hatred of the Clippers goes back to the bubble, apparently, bubble playoffs, and some of the trash talking and taunting that went on from the Clippers towards the Mavs and among other things. So as we always say, any teams out there that want to make an enemy of Luka Doncic, we are here for it, because an elephant
we love you.
Gets
big hug to all of you. We love you.
Oh, petty Luka will tear you apart, and we're here for it.
Well, it tore Chris Dunn apart. We should make sure to mention it tore Chris Dunn apart. He got ejected in this game for kind of mushing the ball into Luka's chest. Luka took exception to, he said, like an elbow or something during a rebound.
Yeah, it was a shot in the back. It was the Dunn gave him trying to go get a rebound, and
back during a rebound that led to some words, and then Jackson Hayes swooping in to shove Chris Dunn out of the way. Jackson Hayes realizing, this dude Luka could keep me a Laker for the rest of my career. You're damn right I'm being his bodyguard right now.
That's my meal ticket right there. And of course, as Dunn is being teed up and ejected, there's I think the technical term for the look on Luka's face was a bleep eating grin, and just phenomenal stuff from Luka. Overall, do need to let people know, by the way, that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. But you noted this before, Andy. This was one of those nights because Luka went off in the first half, super efficient. Again, made his first 5 3-pointers, but it's not like the other guys were bystanders, and it's not like Luka was the only one scoring. The Lakers shot 60% as a team overall, and the starters shot 60%, and that's with Luka cooling off a little bit in the second half. But we have spent a lot of time over the last week talking about shooting, talking about efficiency, whether from Luka or the entire group. This was a game where offensively we got an understanding of what it looks like when, starting with the big three, those guys are all shooting the ball efficiently. I will say the Lakers, very low volume from 3-point range on Tuesday night, aside from Luka, 7 of 12 from 3-point range, again, including hitting those first 5. Only LeBron even attempted 5 threes. So the Lakers got their work done at the free throw line. They made it there 26 times, and inside the arc. And again, overall, 50 of 87 shooting, and well into the 60s from 2. But LeBron was 9 of 15. Austin was 11 of 16. When those 3 guys are that efficient, again, 9 of 15 from LeBron, 11 of 16 from Reaves, 14 of 28 from Luka. When those 3 guys are as efficient as they were, the Lakers are going to score a lot of points. I can't vouch for what happens all the time on the defensive side, but offensively, they're going to score a lot of points, even in the absence of DeAndre Ayton,
apparently DeAndre Ayton was the one bringing down the Lakers 3-point shooting, because one game he doesn't play, the Lakers go ham from behind the arc. By the way, we got an update on DeAndre Ayton. It's a good one. The MRI showed nothing particularly worrisome. He is considered game to game. JJ expressed hope that he could be back sometime this week, which would either be Friday or, I guess, spilling into Sunday. But they don't seem particularly worried about Ayton being gone that long. And the Lakers, by the way, we talked about heading into this game, what are they going to do with Ivica Zubac and the glass? They did a good job on both counts. 10 boards, 10 points for Zubac. You can definitely live with that. The Lakers out-rebounded the Clippers 38-29. They also only had 11 turnovers in this game, so they limited damage on that front. It was also crazy, too. As hot as Luka clearly was to start this game from behind the arc, the Clippers did jaw-droppingly nothing to try to disrupt Luka's rhythm at all. He was
looking at their bench going are you going to at least try to get the ball out of my hands?
He was stepping into these threes in rhythm, almost frankly walking into them. He was hitting these step backs without really having to do much leading up to it, like much dribbling at all. And as much as we talked about in a recent show, Luka's 3-point volume being very high, even by Luka's career averages, they're very high. And he has not been shooting the three particularly well this year. Austin's been in the same boat. Like, there have been times where it's felt like more judiciousness, particularly with the step back, has been needed. If teams are going to allow Luka to take step backs in that type of rhythm,
you're not going to bother guard. There's a difference between we're settling for a three, or we don't even get this possession going, I'm just going to take a three, or dribble, stagnant offense, nobody's moving kind of three. And okay, I'm Luka Doncic, and they're not guarding me threes. Those are threes you really kind of need to take. I do want to talk a little bit more about kind of what we saw from the group offensively, because I think there was a formula here that was kind of unlocked for the Lakers vis-a-vis the big three. We'll do that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season, it is officially upon us, and nothing beats being in the arena for these games, but getting tickets can be a total headache between waiting in queues, surprise fees, prices that jump around before checkout. It's really easy to get frustrated, and all you want to do is just cheer on your team, your Lakers, I'm guessing, with our audience, and that's where Game Time comes in. It's the app that gives fans the advantage. It's the ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see, that's what you're going to end up paying. There's no hidden fees at the checkout. The zone deals will allow you to pick a section, and then Game Time will actually pick the seats for you. Saves you time, and you save big. And you can even find NBA tickets for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go.
A reminder here, not for nothing, the 135-118 win, which pushed the Lakers to 13-4 on the season, also means that they are the group whatever. For what group?
I believe B. I believe they're the group B.
B for, moving on. I don't know.
B for 13-4, bonkers.
Right. There's no good B word for this. Probably should have thought of that before we started the
Booyah!
show.
Booyah!
The group booyah. There you go.
Beat down.
The Lakers win Group B. That's banking $53K for everybody on the roster. Looking for 100 if they move on to the next part of the semifinals, and $500K if they win the whole thing. And I don't care how rich you think these guys are, $500K will get anybody's attention. We actually posted some funny clips from Jackson Hayes talking about that very thing at shoot around, I believe it was on Tuesday. So this was one of those games where you could kind of see the formula, Andy, because Luka was just torching the Clippers in the first half. He did cool off in the second. And that's okay. That's not criticism. Don't expect the guy to shoot like 74% for the entire game. But think of it from the opponent's perspective. Like, you finally get through that Luka Doncic heater, and you're still tight, because this was a close game throughout, until the fourth quarter, end of the third, into the fourth, the Lakers start to pull away. And this, I think, actually is going to be part of what the Lakers try to do to opponents, is that last push where Luka goes off the floor. Typically your starters, your star players for both teams are off the floor to start the fourth quarter. The Lakers can open the fourth quarter because of how they do their substitution patterns with LeBron and Austin Reaves on the floor. And that is going to provide them an advantage. It worked in LeBron's first game back against, that was the Portland game. Utah game. Sorry. Thank you. Where he piles up 6 assists in like 2.5 minutes. And we saw it again on Tuesday, where the Lakers have this ability to press an advantage at a critical point in the game because they have two all-star caliber players. LeBron is LeBron and AR is playing like an all-star this year. That's not an easy thing to compete with if you're the other team.
Yeah, especially too, if like we saw in this game tonight, it wasn't just statistically LeBron's best game since coming back from sciatica. Again, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, a stock. I thought he was like everybody on this team. And this is, if you really want to look at like the biggest problem the Lakers had defensively in this game, they might want to start paying a little more attention to corner shooters, and by a little, I mean any. And they allowed, whether you're talking about Chris Dunn, who feels like you'll take your chances, or John Collins, where it's like, no, really, you need to guard him.
He's pretty well-established shooter.
Right. I mean, and LeBron was guilty of letting some of these guys open, just like everyone was. There were also several possessions where I thought LeBron's, particular his one-on-one defense, was very good. And it was just, you saw the most engaged and I think aggressive version of LeBron since he's returned from the sciatica, and in particular, the second half of this game. And he said, this is his preseason right now. He is really still working himself, not just into rhythm, but into shape. And, this is still a work in progress.
He looks like it too, right? Pretty chunky, little hippie.
Dude, I've talked about this before, and this was no different. I happened to be at practice for LeBron's first one with the Lakers post sciatica. It was right before he finally debuted with the team, and LeBron looked lean and ripped as he always does. I remember LeBron's first season with the Lakers when he had that groin injury that was really his first major injury of his career, which is staggering in and of itself. But the first practice that LeBron was participating in full, I was at that one. And when the Lakers opened up media, we see the tail end of it. And as always, LeBron is practicing shirtless. That's typically what he does. And I'm looking at this guy who, because he had a lower extremity injury, he's really not working out, doing the stuff that he normally does for at least a good month. And he was still washboard shredded. I'm like, this is LeBron's version of dad bod, letting himself go.
It's his fat Thor.
Yeah, it is. I was like, this is as bad as LeBron's ever going to look. And, kind of it's really rude of him in a lot of ways. It's kind of jerk behavior.
And it's some people get those, why he never wears a shirt. It's so vain. It's I would walk around in a loincloth, basically, if I looked like that. If I had that kind of build, I would not own clothes.
But yeah, it's funny though. He doesn't look it, but he is working his way back into this. This was, I think there's still stages to go, but this was really the most comfortable and, again, aggressive LeBron has looked since he's come back. And that version of LeBron, if for the time being he's your third best guy, sometimes fourth best working in, your team could be in pretty good shape.
It's just, the top three that the Lakers can put out. And we saw, there were other things too. We saw different actions and different ways the Lakers utilize the playmaking skills of all three. And then some ways in which the three of them kind of improvisationally, knowing what defenses have to honor from them, were able to, a couple of plays where Austin faked passes and was able to generate buckets for himself. You have to honor the passing skills of these guys to such a high degree, or unless you're Ty Lue in the first half and just choose to pretend that Luka isn't Luka. But they're over time, assuming they can keep everybody in the lineup. And I make no assumption. You look around the NBA right now, you can make no assumptions about your team staying healthy for longer than an hour. But if they are able to do it, I do think over time, between that sort of organic thing where the three of them individually learn to use that effectively against defenses, but then also too, where the coaching staff really builds things in, 3-man action where all three of those guys are part of what's going on offensively is going to be impossible for teams to guard. It just is.
Or you just have apparently their best lob passer, Jackson Hayes, run the show. Like, I had no idea.
It did not escape me that this team that cannot throw an alley. I mean, they have like three of the greatest passers the game. Like, well, two of the greatest passers.
Yeah, let's slow down. Reaves is not there yet.
Two of the greatest passers the game has ever seen, and a third guy who's pretty good.
Right. Right. That's accurate.
They are the worst alley-oop team in NBA history, except for the backup center, who's apparently perfect. Like,
yes.
Great.
I did not have Jackson Hayes is apparently the most responsible lob thrower on the Lakers on my bingo card, but it's apparently true.
There honestly, there needs to be a fine jar somewhere in the facility to kind of like, they should claw back a little bit of Luka, especially Luka and AR. Like they are the biggest problems here, and they need to have some of their NBA Cup money clawed back if they don't learn to behave.
Well, I was going to say this is the problem. If they win the cup, that's just $500K that they can make it rain with bad lob throws.
Yeah, they some semblance of responsibility needs to be instilled with those two, because it's not okay. But what I liked about this game, and a couple other things we can talk about after the break, but one of the things that I liked about this game was the fact that the Lakers, despite actually making some 3-pointers, didn't get three happy. They remained, able to find some mid-range shots. They remained dedicated to getting into the paint. They actually ran the floor against a painfully slow Clippers team. I'm like, when you can make the Lakers look like track stars, like, you are a slow team. But the Lakers, we talked about it going into the game as something they might want to think about, ran the floor really effectively. And, they built up an advantage that way. I liked that they didn't get three happy, even though this happened to be a night they were going down. Their volume was still very low, and I think that contributes to the incredibly efficient offensive night that they had. More on what went well with this offensive effort, plus what changed in the fourth quarter. We'll get to that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Drip Drop. When I'm hydrated, everything just works better. My body just feels awesome. That's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration, keeping me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. And Drip Drop, it's not your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top colleges and pro teams. I've been adding it to my water during workouts. It's fantastic. My favorite of the flavors is the sugar-free cherry limeade, but any of the citrus choices, I have loved them. It's great for staying sharp and energized during long days. If I'm going to be driving around a lot, I'll put it in my water for my commute. It just makes the traffic in LA that much more bearable. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's dripdrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. Keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop.
So obviously, Andy, when the Lakers shoot 60%, they're not going to lose much. Even when the other guy shoots 52, which is what the Clippers did. It took until the fourth quarter. And people look at what the Lakers did in the fourth quarter, holding the Clippers to 25 points, and be like, 25 points. Like in my head, like under 25 is really good. Certainly under 20 is like really good work defensively. But in the modern NBA, I think really anything around 25 points where you're having teams average about 100, that's good. If you hold teams to 100 points, you're going to win almost every game.
I thought for the last quarter and a half, the Lakers really started to crank up their defense. They started being more sharp, more attentive, and also they were very much choking out the will and disposition of the Clippers. You could tell this season is just a slog for them. They are already hating life, like 17 games in. Like, honestly, I think they would like people to start talking more about the whole aspiration thing again, and like this cap circumvention scandal. Put all the focus back on Ballmer and Kawhi, I guess. And
Kawhi actually arrived at the arena dressed as the Stanford tree, just to try to draw attention to the whole arbor thing.
I feel like they were probably happiest when that's what was going on, man, because they even when the game was tied, even when the Clippers were ahead, they looked miserable. Like they're so dependent on Harden. Like, and he's having a great season.
Yeah, Harden was really good.
He was matching Luka like step for step for at least first half of the game, first 20 minutes of the game, but
finished with 29-5 or 29-9.
They're so dependent on him, and he still can't quite do enough for them. And it's just they look miserable.
Well, it's because they know it's not going to get we did a show, I don't know, maybe 10 days ago, just about how the Western Conference has changed. And, the biggest things, obviously, San Antonio, injuries aside, looks like they're, ready to make a leap. Portland, before the injuries just started to pile up a little too much, looked like they were, ready to be, kind of a 500 fringy play-in team. And, stuff like that. There were Phoenix has been far better than a lot of people expected.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to start playing better teams more regularly, but so far, so good.
And the Lakers will see them at the end of this homestand before they go out on their trip, and we'll get a better feel for it. But, they do have a certain balance to them. They're playing better defense. Dillon Brooks, despite being, wildly unappealing if he's not on your team, has done a lot of good.
I came up with a fake trade bringing him to the Lakers, if you recall, over the offseason.
We'll see. But like the bottom dropping out of the Clippers, I mean, even those people who thought that the Clippers, could be competitive, certainly had a competitive looking roster. We're like, I don't know about their health and this, that. Like, you always knew, like, health-wise, the bottom could drop out. But even with, like, they didn't play with Kawhi for long stretches last year, and we're still very
they've played without Kawhi for long stretches of the Kawhi era.
But they finished with, I think, one fewer win than the Lakers last year. Like, they were a very successful team. This has been just a catastrophe, and it's not going to get better. Changes the complexion of the Western Conference. And then now you add, kind of the bottom completely dropping out from the Memphis Grizzlies, who are not supposed to be maybe title contenders, but I don't think people thought they'd be quite this bad. And then, the bottom dropping out of the Dallas Mavericks. Again, you can, there were, the excited nature of those who were like, oh, they're title contenders after the Anthony Davis trade. Slow down. This is worse than even, I think, the vast majority of non-believers would have thought it was going to be. Doesn't look like it's going to improve anytime soon. And now they're talking about breaking that thing up. It's a different conference now. And the Lakers are well positioned to be able to take advantage of that. And they're going to be a team that obviously the defense needs to improve, but there is something to the idea of being able to clamp down defensively on teams as the game goes on. But also, I think, Andy, being able to leverage what they can do offensively kind of in service of that, where you can just beat teams into submission. Golden State used to do this all the time, where like you felt like every time you didn't score, you're just going to be like, oh God, like You can't get 6 stops in 8 tries against this team.
Yeah, the Lakers offense is not at that
No. It's not even close to that. But you can see, if it works, I think it's the way that everybody hopes it does. There could be an element of that as the season starts to go along.
Well, what the Lakers can hope to do at their best, and then we can get into, you had wanted to bring up a few things in the fourth quarter, but what the Lakers can do, I think, at their best, even if the offense isn't likely to reach peak Golden State level, because what offenses do, they can configure the rotation between Luka, LeBron, and Austin, where one of the 3 minimum, 2 of the 3 are on the floor at all times.
Yes.
And it just never feels like there's a soft spot. It never feels like, okay, this is the striking moment for the opponent. There will be times where, all 3 of them is going to be stronger than 2 of the 3, certainly 1 of the 3. It becomes comparatively an opening, like a window for the other team. But it's not like, what we hear about with Denver and the non-Jokic minutes, which have been better this year, but that's always going to be, as great of a player as Jamal Murray is, it's become a thing for, since Jokic really became Jokic, those minutes where he's not out there, everything can really fall to bleep. The Lakers, at the very least, can offer very few fall to bleep moments. And that is, to your point, a weapon.
Yeah. And that's a lot of what I wanted to kind of talk about, was just this. I'm not advocating the type of defense they played in the first quarter, which is, essentially a layup drill. It was a layup drill for both teams. It was a 3-point drill, a layup drill for both teams. Lakers came out of the half, gave up a bunch easy. Some of this, I think, is because they were missing any semblance of rim protection. And so, if you could get to the rim, as a Clipper, there wasn't going to be a whole lot there to deter you. But it's if they can clean some of those things up, and we've seen enough stretches where, when the intensity dials up, when the attention to detail elevates, the Lakers can play effective defense. I look at this group as one where there is going to be, even more than I think a lot of teams, and this is true of every team across basketball, but there is going to be a very strong correlation, I think, between the way the Lakers execute offensively, which they did very well in the fourth quarter. End of the third, into the fourth, they were very, very on point. There's going to be a very strong correlation between what they're doing offensively and how they're doing it defensively.
Yeah.
So when they can crank up what they do offensively, it's going to make them better on the other end.
Yeah, especially if, like tonight, they do it while avoiding turnovers. It's one of the ways you can strengthen your defense is just avoid putting yourselves in the places, in the situations where you're most defensively vulnerable. And the Lakers are not good defending in transition. One way to alleviate the problem is don't put yourself in transition. It was the reason last year that even though before he got traded, he was having a largely season. D'Angelo Russell's advanced metrics were always so good, and the Lakers were better with him on the floor, even though he was not playing great. It's because he's a good playmaker that doesn't turn the ball over. And he avoided putting the Lakers in a vulnerable position, even if he was not playing individually that great. That matters.
To your point, the Lakers only had 11 turnovers. This was sort of top end blueprint offensive basketball for the Lakers, especially when you consider they didn't have Ayton available. And so, very efficient from 3-point range without getting 3 happy. Still got to the line, made their free throws at a very respectable 85% clip. Didn't turn the ball over. all that kind of, just everything about this from an offensive standpoint was about as good as you draw it up. They went 37, 32, 29, 37 in terms of quarter by quarter scoring. When 29 is your worst quarter, it's a good night. So we'll see. We'll see if the Lakers can carry this on as LeBron starts to get himself back his grown-up lungs as opposed to his baby lungs, as he's talked about them. Again, things should hopefully continue to become more consistent for them offensively. Lakers play Dallas on Friday. It is expected now that Anthony Davis should be suiting up for that one. Can't imagine why. And so, yeah, plenty to look forward to over the rest of the week. We will see everyone tomorrow.